What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're working on the 2014 Lexus RX350 again. We're going to be doing an oil change. This is the oil that I'm going to be using. Usually I use Castrol Edge, but this time they were out, so Magnatech is also very good, and I do change it every 5,000 miles on this car, and I don't see the Magnatech as being too much of a downgrade. They're both fully synthetic. They basically target different points. So the Magnatech is meant to cling to metal so that you can leave your car overnight or a longer period of time and the oil is still bonded to the metal surfaces, whereas the Edge offers a little bit higher performance, higher RPM, heat, and so on. And this car does not see, a racetrack. So Magnatech is what we're going to use now. Now, before we get started, I just want to mention this car does take 6.5 quarts. So one bottle of this is not going to be enough. You're going to need another bottle. I'm going to actually combine the two. I'm going to use 1.5 quarts of this, which is exactly what I have left here, and then a 5-quart bottle of the Magnatech to make 6.5. It's actually 6.4 quarts, but 6.5 is good. And you'll see me jack up the car in this video. You don't have to jack it up. I have done it several times with the car on the ground because there's enough clearance under there, but it does make it easier. And I'm already jacking it up to do some front brakes, which, by the way, front brakes in a different video linked in the description if you're interested. But anyway, since I'm jacking it up anyway, I might as well do the oil change now because it is easier, but it's still possible with it on the ground. All right, let's get started. Right here is where you can jack up the car. There's a little nub on the front subframe, and the jack stands you can put right here on the frame rails. On the pinch rails, I would avoid putting them. These types of jack stands tend to bend the pinch rail, so unless you have the ones that slip over, I would put them right here. On the passenger side, you locate your oil pan. Go ahead and remove this 14mm bolt. You're gonna watch out when it comes out. Oil will shoot out pretty fast, so be careful. I'm applying upwards pressure on the threads. That way it doesn't pop out right away. Take the washer with you. Once it's ready, pull it out. You have quite a bit of oil in here. Like I said before, 6.5 quarts, so make sure you have a drain bucket that is large enough to accommodate for that amount of oil. While this is draining, let's remove the filter. While the oil is draining still, I'm going to remove the oil filter cap here. This little thing on the bottom is just a cap, and what this does is once you remove it, it allows you to drain some of the existing oil so you don't make a mess. And to drain it, you actually use this little device that should come with your oil filter. You just thread it on to the same threads where you had the cap threaded, and as you tighten it, it pushes up on a valve, opens up the oil flow. Now you can let this drain for about a minute or two, just until the flow slows down a little bit so that you can take this whole cap off without getting oil all over yourself. Well, this is good enough for me. I'm going to remove it. The rest of the oil I'll just drain when I take the filter off. I like to save these and have at least one or two in my toolbox just in case I need one for whatever reason. I'm going to put this cap on just so the oil can stop dripping. I'll take it off later to replace that gasket in there. And what you do need now is this special tool. I'll put a link to it in the description so you can buy one. It's fairly inexpensive, and what it does is it adapts. It hooks onto these two ears here so you can spin this housing off. Now, yes, you can try to use a regular oil filter wrench, but it's probably not going to work. Okay. Once it unthreads all the way, more oil will come out. And now you can pull this all the way off, drain it, remove the old filter. And now I'm going to go take some paper towels, or you can take a rag or whatever you have, and just clean this out so that there is no oil everywhere. And I'll do the same up there on the housing. Now that this is wiped off, I'm going to replace these gaskets, pull these off, and you can throw them away. If you absolutely have to, you can reuse them, but your oil filter should come with new ones, so you should replace them. And Same goes for this one right here. Go ahead and place the new one on. I'm going to put the cap back. I'm not going to tighten it yet. I'm going to tighten it once it's on the car so I can snug it down properly. It does have a torque, and it says it right here on the housing, but you know, just make it snug. Put on this O-ring as well. Make sure it gets seated all the way down in the correct groove. You don't want it here, you want it here. All right. And the reason I didn't completely clean this off is, first of all, on the inside, it's going to get oil in there again, so it's pointless to completely clean it. And on the outside, the fact that I still have a little bit of oil helps me to lubricate these gaskets. And at the end, when I put this housing on, or the cap for the housing, I will brake clean this and degrease it properly. So let's get the new filter. Take your new filter, slide it on all the way. Make sure it's bottomed out. And what I like to do is fill the oil filter up, basically prime the filter. That way when it starts up, it doesn't start up dry. So I filled it up to about here somewhere. So that's good enough. Let's go put it in the car. Wipe off the surface here and install the new filter. Now, this being an aluminum housing with an aluminum cap, there's no give to it. So like once you snug it, it just stops. So I just like to give it a little so to speak, and that's good enough. And do the same for this small cap here. Snug it up. Perfect. Now I'm going to clean off this whole area, make sure it's free of any oil or grease. That way if there's ever a leak, I know that, well, it's a leak and not residual from the oil change. Go ahead and put on your oil drain plug, and you can replace the gasket. You probably should, but I reuse these a few times before I replace them. Snug it up. Perfect. All right, clean up the area. Let's go fill it with oil. With the hood open, locate the oil cap, which is right here on the passenger side of the engine. And it's easiest if you use a funnel. I know it's really difficult to use a funnel because it doesn't actually go in. The timing chain cover is right there. But if you lay it down flat like this, it should work, and just go slow. And pour in the proper amount of oil. At this point you can check it, but I know that I put in exactly how much I need. If you wanted to check it, you would pull the dipstick out, clean it, stick it back in, and read the level. It should be right at the full mark. Put your oil cap back on, and if you made a little bit of a mess like I did, go ahead and clean that up. I got a little bit under the oil cap, so I'm gonna take the engine cover off so I can properly clean. As you can see, there's been lots of previous spillage here. Now let me show you how to reset the oil maintenance reminder. To finish off this oil change, I'm gonna start up the engine. Make sure everything is working properly, you have no warning lights or anything. I will get rid of that service reminder soon, but first let me show you how to reset the mileage counter. So go to your main menu, go to setup, and then you wanna go over to vehicle, select maintenance, and I've done engine oil, so reset that. Yes. Okay. Again, I have it set to 5,000 miles for an interval. You can pick your interval by just selecting edit, and then you put your interval in. I did the oil filter, of course. And I did not do the tire rotation because these are new tires. I just put them on a couple months ago, so I skipped it this time, but I'm going to reset it anyway, because I don't want the warning message popping up, and I'll rotate them with the next oil change. So once that's done, you can exit out of that. So now to get rid of that message right there, you want to be on trip A. Use the odometer button down here, and you want to flip through the screen until you get to trip A. Once you're on that, shut the engine off, hold the odometer button, and then turn on the ignition. So press the engine start button twice, but do not hold the brake pedal. And then keep holding the odometer button until all those lines disappear, and that has successfully reset your oil or service reminder on the gauge cluster. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.